Hey guys, welcome to the Happy, Healthy Human Podcast. Today we have a new guest, Jesse Wynn, who is a frequent visitor of the Reason community and his first time on our podcast. Jesse is a real estate investor, the founder of the Upper Room Group LLC. And Jesse's journey began with a drive to achieve financial freedom, but along the way he discovered a greater purpose, one centered around faith, service, and community. His motto is meet people where they are and serve people first, and that guides everything that he does, from helping homeowners and investors achieve goals, their goals of living a purposeful, driven life. And we'll be diving into how Jesse balances business, relationships, and health while striving to serve others through his God-given gifts. Welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for being here, man. Why are we here? How are you here today?
How am I here today? Well, my mom and dad, they did. No, I was like, no. No. I mean, I've always dreamed about being in the 626. Like, since I was a kid, I watched Wong Fu Productions, JK Films, Fung Bros. I'm only 20. I turned 26 this past Saturday. So
Happy
about
birthday,
like
dude.
when I was like, thank you. So about when I was 12, 13 years old, I always watched these content creators from 626, and I thought it was so cool. It's like I knew everything about the 626 without even living in it.
Yeah.
And then one day I was just on Facebook, doom scrolling, and then I found my wife, my soon-to-be wife. I found this girl. Her name was Irene. Is Irene. Not was.
It was
Is.
Irene.
Always will be. And it was on this page called Subtle Asian Dating. I DM'd her, asked her if she wanted to FaceTime. So this is the trick. Most people do not ask people online, do they want to FaceTime? They just text indefinitely, and then hook up, and then never text back. So that's kind of where you can set yourself apart is, hey, get on the phone, go sell yourself, go make a connection. So her and I got onto FaceTime, and 3 weeks later, after we first talked, I was in the 626. And that was pretty cool. That was during COVID.
3 weeks later.
3 weeks later. But 2 days after we had talked, I already booked a ticket. And 3 weeks later, I was on a plane to LA. First time in LA. And it was August of 2020. So basically 6 months after the world shut down. And we went to Bacali, the little, Hong Kong cafe.
Valley, right?
On Valley, yeah.
I've never been there, but everyone talks about it.
And I'm just eating outside at this Hong Kong cafe, and you got servers with their masks on and everything. But it's crazy because Delaware never really shut down. So yeah,
okay.
I'm from Delaware, which is like 30 minutes south of Philly.
You guys never shut down during COVID?
Not really.
For real?
Nothing really shut down. I kept on business as usual.
Really? No mask, no nothing?
If you didn't want to, no.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's got to be a red state, huh?
No, it's Joe Biden's state.
Is it Joe Biden's state?
It's Joe Biden's state.
Come
Joe
on,
Biden's
bro.
my neighbor.
Dang, bro.
Yeah. So
Joe and Jesse, dude.
no, don't associate me with Joe. Not that guy. No, but that's pretty much how I ended up in LA. 626. I don't live here. I'm just here like 2-3 times a year, and it's awesome being part of this community.
Yeah.
One of the best communities that I found out here in LA.
I don't know, man. So on this podcast, we talk about mindset, nutrition, what you eat, relationships and connection, training, obviously. And I know you don't like this, and I didn't like it when I was your age, but you're obviously very young.
Yeah.
You're obviously very young, and you're probably the youngest guest to ever be on an episode of our podcast. And I think I'm going to give people my impression of you. So my first impression of you was you came in, and I think I was in like one of the rooms, like in a call or something like that, and you were like, "Yo, can we get lunch?" Do you remember that?
Yeah, I always ask people for
Yeah, so
lunch.
you asked me to go to lunch, and I was like, I can't do lunch today. And you're like, how about the rest of the week? And I was like, no, I'm booked out. And you're like, well, I'm only here until this day. And I was like, okay, well, I do want to hang out. Like, maybe we'll go for a walk or something later. And you're like, well, are you going to eat lunch today? Do you remember this?
Yeah.
You said, are you going to eat lunch today? And I was like, I did. I have meal prep in the fridge. I'm going to eat it throughout, like during one of my meetings. And you said, can I bring lunch and eat with you?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, this kid is like, and this might have been like 2 years ago. So
Yeah.
you were like 23 or 24.
Yeah.
I was like, this kid is different, you know. And then we went on a ruck, and I kind of got to know you a little better. And you're probably one of the most unique, you know, at the time, let's say sub 25-year-olds that I've ever met in my life, you know. And then being from Delaware, being who you are, doing what you do, is like really fascinating to me, you know. So tell me about like where you grew up. Tell me, you know, like what's your journey with, you know, I know seeking financial independence is a big part of it, but you know, what was your upbringing like, and you know, how do you tie that into like being a healthy person?
Yeah. So I just want to start off with the premise that I just always enjoy being different, and like my best friends Josh and Kenny, like we all work together in our Upper Room Group company, and we were just talking about this last week where it's just like, dang, I just like being different. I just like going against the grain. And then Josh was just like, you know what? I never really thought about it like that, but I don't like being the same as everyone else either. I like being weird, you know? So, you know, going back to my upbringing, I've honestly never been like the most talented kid, never been really the smartest kid either. And I've been on like, you know, basketball tryouts and got picked last on a scrimmage. And there was a student faculty basketball game. I got the ball, fast break. I went fast break the other side. So I scored on my own team. It was crazy. It was the craziest thing. Like, you ever seen one of those like Facebook reels where it's like you got this football player running across the other side and then his team is going to go tackle him?
Yeah.
And it's like, that was basically me. I did that. And it's like, I've done some of the craziest things, not in all the best ways in my life, but there were good things that came out of it. I mean, I started a lawn mowing company, sole proprietorship, you know, like got like 10 to 15 clients managing my neighborhood. I also hustled snow, you know, on the East Coast, we got snow. Yeah. And you can make 200 in like an hour, hour and a half. It was crazy. I would just hustle my neighbors. Worked at the grocery store. That was pretty lame. So I made like $6 an hour. And then after FICA, it was like $5. I got wrecked there. Worked Dunkin' Donuts. Like, I don't know. I never really had a calculated plan. I've never really been one to plan. I've always been one to like shoot the arrow and go, you know, recalibrate my path. And then I think when I came to college, I found this Christian group called InterVarsity Christian Fellowship, and they were like the main reason why I stayed in school. They taught me what it meant to have values. If it wasn't for these good people that, you know, I found all 5 groomsmen from that Christian fellowship, and I did homework with them. Like, I finished college with a 3.6, and I was like, dang, I'm like a sub 3 GPA student. Yeah. And I'm just like riding the coattails of these engineers. Sure. And
is that what you studied?
No, dude. I studied business. I studied business. I studied entrepreneurship because I didn't want to be business undeclared. So I studied the next best thing, which was entrepreneurship. There was a guy leading that department who actually exited RFID company for like 100 million plus. So I just hung out with that guy.
University of Delaware?
Yeah, he was just an adjunct professor just hanging out with the students. Cool. Yeah. So I majored in entrepreneurship. I hung around some pretty creative thinkers. I hung around some really good, valued people. Yeah. And then I just happened to fall into one of the best real estate markets of all time. It just sounds crazy, but I was cleaning houses for my aunt and uncle between 2014 and 2017, and then leading up into college, which was 2017 and 2021. What's it called? The real estate market was really booming between 2016 and 2022 before interest rates just totally went to the moon in the bad way, the worst way possible. And then I just happened to get my first house December of 2019. Like one of my friends from church and I drove around the neighborhood, and we were looking for ugly houses, and we just sent mailers, and somehow people called us back, and they wanted to sell. People actually want to sell their houses to people they receive mail from, which did not make any sense to me. I wouldn't do that, but they would. So we ended up doing the deal. His dad had flipped 90 houses between 2015 and 2019, so he mentored us. I found some people who had enough faith in me that they wanted to lend me the money to go fix it up, buy it and fix it up. So, but it's like not people that I even had like a proven track record to. I just asked like 22 people, and they loaned me the money. So it was very cool. My partner and I made $100,000 split it down the middle.
Yeah. How old are you at this time?
Yeah. So about 4.5 years from, it's like about 21.
Wow.
Yeah, I was 20.
Crazy, bro.
I remember that I was 20 years old before, or no, I was 19. I was 19 when I bought my first house, and I was 2 months before I turned 20. And I was like, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I did it.
Yeah.
And then sold that. I invested some money into direct to seller marketing, and I got a couple more properties in my portfolio. I bought a fourplex in 2020, December 2020, so like exactly a year after doing my first deal. So that's how I figured out how to live for free. And after that point, it's just like one thing after another. Like built a direct to seller marketing company. We pretty much sucked between 2022, 2023, and 2024 was a very good year. That was like a successful year in my books. And then now we're in 2025. So now we have a consultant. So it's kind of pretty crazy. So we're going to try to grow 30% in the next 11 months.
Yep. Right on, man. We never really talk a whole lot of money on this show or on our podcast, but money is a very, very important part of how the world runs, and it's absolutely required. You need money to do things, right? Like you said, one of your first goals was to live for free. How do you, when you look at and one of your first goals was to be financially independent, where do you feel like that falls in for you personally when you look at being a healthy person and then being financially healthy? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, I like to look at it segmented into the 5 F's. I don't know if people talk about this, where it's like family, faith, finances, fitness, and like friends, I guess. I haven't really done this exercise in about 12 months, but I think people should do this exercise like once a year at least. So I'm pretty much due to do my next evaluation of my 5 F's. And for the most part,
it's funny, I have 6.
You have 6 F's?
I'll tell you later. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. But finances is one of those things where you see so many couples or families fight over money. And even my family was like paycheck to paycheck growing up and just not making good financial decisions. Honestly, my family did have enough money. They were just making poor decisions.
Sure.
And I think a lot of families, even the ones that have median U.S. income of like between 50 and 65K, I think it's enough so long as you make the right decisions.
As long as you steward it well, right?
As long as you steward it well, it's enough. And it's like, now I'm in a position where it's like I have significantly more than my parents have, but I'm also making better financial decisions, and I'm able to do a lot more with a lot less. And it's just like my parents came here as immigrants. They were trying to survive. Sure. It's different. It's different. Like they were trying to survive, and now here I am trying to build something, and 100%. I'm not worrying about my basic necessities like clothing, food, and shelter when they were.
Yeah. No, very relatable. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. What's your motive? Like, what's your motivation to do what you like career wise, and just doing what you do every day? What gets you up? What gets you up right now? Because like you just turned 26, right?
Yeah.
You're a new dad.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks.
You're a new dad. Congratulations, by the way. Forrest, Jesse Wynn.
Yeah. Forrest Jesse Wynn. Yeah.
Forrest Jesse Wynn. Shout out to Forrest Frank.
I know.
Did you really name your son after Forrest Frank?
Yeah, I named him after Forrest Frank. I went to a concert in August. I'm going to another concert.
That's wild,
in
bro.
April.
You gonna bring your son?
No, I don't got a ticket for him.
And be like, hey, you gotta be free, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
I think under 2's gotta be free. I think usually, no. There's no seats, right? You're just standing space, right?
Yeah, I think it's just.
Hey, I say you bring your son a onesie that says, "My name is Forrest."
My name is Forrest.
And show it to him like Simba.
That's so funny.
But yeah, man. So like, I mean, you're 26. You're like a life stage. My guess. I mean, in the LA market or in the LA populace here, you're like a life stage ahead of 26-year-olds. I'm 37. I would say that like half my friends don't have kids.
Wow.
Half my friends don't have kids. People waiting out here, bro. People banking money for whatever it is they're trying to make it for, and they're trying to live, bro. People do not want kids right now.
Yeah.
And then there are people that do want kids, but it's very common for people to start like closer to 40 now.
That's geriatric level, man.
Dang, dude, thank you. That's
That's
makes me feel
geriatric
good.
pregnancy. Oh.
So I call this geriatric. But yeah, man. So people are waiting now. You're 26. You're financially independent. You sustain yourself. Like what gets you up, man? Like what's your why, dude?
Yeah. So first thing that is not my why is the money. It used to be, and then it got to a point where it's just like, well, money is input and output. You do this, you get money. It's like if you change from working hours to get money to working for results to get money, you could produce X amount of results and get X amount of money. And it's like, are you just gonna stop right there? It's like, you gotta go find the purpose. You gotta go for a deeper why and meaning. And personally, for me, it's enriching other people's lives. As corny as that sounds,
Not corny.
I find a lot of pleasure in being a catalyst in like other people's lives. Like the people who are in my company, like Josh, my COO, he was a Walmart distribution worker. My partner Kenny, he was an ex-meth dealer and highway construction worker. Yeah. And now he's like the top sales guy for buying houses in Delaware. Yeah. So it was very cool. And then my wife, like, she dropped out of nursing school and became like,
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's like very, very good at finances, and she just wants to pursue the path of being a mother now. So kind of help her, refine her path and find her deeper why. And that was what I did for these other guys as well, Josh and Kenny, help them find their deeper purpose and why. And that gives me so much life and energy. I'm just always out there trying to figure out, how do I help people achieve that, and then how do I pour gasoline on their flame, once I get them fired up. Because I feel like this society or this generation lacks a lot of purpose, or maybe that's just always been a problem, just a human problem in general, lacking purpose, passion, and fire, and I just want to help people find that for themselves. And that's like a endless, unlimited problem. I could like go till I'm dead try and do that.
Yeah, I was just talking to Drew about this yesterday. Like for me, I'm in my late 30s now. What you call geriatric. I'll be honest. I'm approaching 40 in the next few years, and like I feel like I'm just getting started on life.
40 is prime, man.
I feel prime. I feel prime. My joints don't feel prime, but everything else in my life feels pretty prime. And I do think that there's a special gift in being able to be a multiplier for people. Mm-hmm. Like my goal is to be able to just like take what I believe God has given me, and then like how do I take that and multiply those talents or those things that I've been given to steward, and just create more of that. Yeah. Not just in my life, especially not just in my life, but for others as well. Oh yeah. When I'm able to do that, that's the most fulfilling thing to be able to do, to be a connector and to be a multiplier. Yeah. So, but for you to like know that and want to do that already at like 20, in your early to mid 20s is like, that's really humbling and really cool for me to watch, because I feel like most people that are in the 20s are very, I mean, I'm gonna get hated on for saying this, but like, they're a little bit more self-serving. It's like you figure out it's like what you do you. It's like, oh, I'm gonna do this for me and mine. That kind of attitude, and it's really rare to see someone like you pursuing what you're pursuing at the life stage that you're in.
I mean, it's really enjoyable to serve other people because it's like you're running the race alongside with them. Yeah. One of the big things that recently happened, like in the last month. So I go to the bank, and my friend Rob, who's like the bank manager, he's like, "Hey Jesse, you buy houses that like are kind of expensive, like big houses, like I don't know, a lot of work." And I was like, "Yeah, that's what I do." And he was like, "Yeah, my mom and aunts just inherited this one thing from the half sisters, and it's like it's worth like $700K. So just make." The median
that's Delaware. What's that?
Yeah,
what's
the
that
median house
money,
price
bro?
is $375. So this is almost double.
So this is like a $2.5 million home in LA.
Call it that, yeah. Yeah, okay. Call it that. Not really. It's just a suburban house. Okay. And then
that's a suburban house in LA, bro.
I love this zip code. I love this area. It's called North Wilmington, and it's not for me. So what I was thinking of is my partner Kenny, who lives an hour south down in Dover, which is the capital of Delaware, but there's drugs, there's crime, not good people down there. Yep. Schools suck, and I'm just like, dude, like you gotta change your zip code. Like something's gotta change in your life. You need to go chase after better for your kids.
That's good, bro.
You know, and then it will also be 10 minutes away from work. The guy's already driving an hour up my way, like 3, 4, or 5 times a week in order to make deals happen. I'm like, we'll probably make more money if you're closer to the office as well. 100%. So that would be really cool. So I told him, let's go try to get this house. Yeah. Let's go try to get this fixer upper at least the least amount of money down as possible, fully rehabbed, and let's just try to go paint the future for your kids. I don't know. So we go over there. They've already gotten offers from other flippers for around like 330. I don't know. It was like 300 and 330. We were like the third people to look at it, and we were like, "Wait, we want this house. We want this house." Like my partner Kenny, he needs a place to raise his kids, a better place than Dover. Yeah. It's like, I don't know what it's gonna take, but I think our number is on 350. Yep. But we want to do this. We want to build a relationship with you guys, and Rob is my boy. This is like Rob's mom is already there. It's like they know us and they really like us. And then we told them this is our offer, as is. So 350 for like a 750K house. It's a pretty solid deal. It's like 50% off, but it needed like 100 to 200K in work. It needed a lot. It needed everything. The tree fell through the roof at one point, and they repaired it, but it's like got water damage, everything, full gut. Sure. So we got the contract. Everything was ratified yesterday. So it's actually very exciting. So we're going to close at the end of April, and hopefully Kenny can get into this thing by the end of the summer, because Delaware is like a no permit. I mean, like we like to go no permit as fast as we possibly can. Hopefully they don't catch us, you know? Yeah. So if we can get this entire thing finished up and then he move up for the school year and everything, the guy's going to walk into a house with like 200K in equity. That's crazy. After you refinance everything, basically bring almost nothing into this.
That's cool to be able to do that for people that work with you as like providing that for them. That's so cool, man.
Yeah. And love that. I told him.
How old is this guy?
Oh, he's 50.
He's 50?
He's 50. He's 50. Yeah.
Bro, you're different, bro.
Yeah, I don't know why this guy is actually partnered with me, but it's very cool. Honestly, he tells me the same. It's just like, Jesse, you drive me, to grow, be different. Like he has chosen me over friends that he's known for decades. Sure. And it came to a point where it's like there was even like a family situation where he had to pick me to side with over his own family member. So it's crazy. He knew that I was like a brother to him.
I love that, dude. Yeah. That's crazy. Actually, so one of my, this is my first time saying this out loud, but I have a secret, I don't want to say agenda because that sounds so sneaky, but one of the things I want to be able to provide, we're in the St. Louis Valley. It's hella expensive to live out here, but when you look at quality of life, commute is such a big part of it. And one of my primary drivers or reasons for not just growing reason, because I want to help and impact people in our community, but to help our actual staff that are the ones that drive this, is like, I want to be able to, at their will and at their option, every single person that works under the Reason umbrella can be able to afford to live within a 20-minute drive of whatever our brick and mortars are. Yeah. Right. And I think because that's such a big piece of quality of life. Like, imagine if you're driving every 10 minutes that you're driving out, I was like, especially in LA traffic. LA traffic sucks. Yeah. Right. So one of my goals is like, dude, the sub 20-minute commute is like ideal. Like I used to live in Duarte, which it sounds really crazy. I actually only lived like 7 to 9 miles away from here. But on the worst days of traffic, because it's at a dead stop, because everyone's going to the Inland Empire, it's more affordable. It was a 51-minute drive. 51-minute drive to get there. Wow. So one of the first things I did for myself was like, hey, if I'm going to be a leader in this community, I still can't. I actually just moved to Arcadia, but I couldn't afford the Arcadia neighborhood. So I was like, how do I get as close as possible so that I can reduce my commute to work? Yeah. Because that's improvement of lifestyle, and that and in turn improves your quality of life, which improves your health. Yeah. So, one question I had, I've been kind of holding on to it while you were talking, is, being at your age and achieving what you've achieved. I remember are you cool if I share some numbers? Or I remember you mentioned like you started college. Yeah, sure. Whatever you want. You graduated college and you had like, I don't know, like you said like less than 50 G's or something like that. Yeah. Right. And I'm sure you had debt, and then you said you like multiplied your net worth in 4 years by like, it was like 10?
Yeah. No, I was millionaire by 22. It was kind of crazy. I mean, economy was very good.
Bro,
economy was very, very cool.
So, so I mean, I think there's a nice stigma or idea out there that achieving financial freedom often involves a ton of sacrifice.
Yeah.
So how do you prioritize your personal health, like your movement, nutrition, your rest during the stages of like building and trying to achieve that?
That's a good question. So, can you repeat the question for me again?
So like achieving financial freedom often involves a lot of sacrifice, especially early on, entrepreneurs and whatnot. How do you prioritize your personal health, which is like your movement, your nutrition, and your rest during those early stages?
So the number one word that comes to mind is constraint. It's like if I'm going to work and produce these results, I'm only going to give myself 50 hours to go do it. And some of the people who work 80 to 100 hours, lawyers, doctors, like some addicted business owners, really inefficient business owners, they'll work those hours and then have to forego time with their family, have to forego time for clean eating, forego time for their fitness. And that's the wrong decision that they're actively choosing to make. So for myself, I'm always conscious of the decisions that I make. So it's like, if I'm going to spend time with my family, I'm going to not work out after 5 p.m., even though there's a 5 or 6 p.m. like CrossFit gym class. And I like to go to the 6, or I can go to the 11, which is the lunch class when I'm at home. And if I'm working one less hour, okay, well, wake up a little bit earlier or work an extra hour later in the week. You know, to get that extra hour, you got to wake up a little bit earlier. You know, so just being flexible. Or sometimes I only work a 5 or 6 hour day instead of like an 8 to 10 hour day. You know, so just trying to be balanced like that. Planning the next day, the day before, also has to do in that. And I also use like Asana and Google Calendar. Every single day. And then I have different projects within my Asana. So it's like, I'm not just aimlessly doing tasks, but I'm doing tasks with, a project that I want to complete in mind.
It's good.
Yeah.
Do you have any specific practices for like rest and recovery?
Just don't work out on Sundays because there's no program on Sundays. I'll do that. Try to sleep 7 hours at least every evening. I mean, perfect would be 8, but if you can only get 7, get 7. Yeah. Especially with the kid nowadays. Avoid eating junk food. Food that's cooked outside of your kitchen with like you don't even know how much oil.
Sure.
Try to do simple things like that, and then protein. Try to eat like an ideal amount of protein. Usually it's like a 1-to-1 to your body weight. That's what people like to go for. But maybe I'm only getting like 80 to 90% of that. For the most part, works out pretty good. Yeah.
I feel like I consider you a high performer. I feel like high performers often pay attention to, you talk about nutrition, what fuels you. Over the years, in the last 5 years, with experimentation, being coached, have you developed any specific habits or routines or like non-negotiables in your life that you live by?
Yeah. I try to work out at least 5 days a week because what I hear from the older people who have done that, like I find 80, 90-year-olds, 92-year-olds who are still skiing. And they've been active since they were a teenager and never stopped being active. So physical...
92? That's
92,
crazy.
still skiing. It's kind of insane. So I look at that and I think of physical fitness as something that compounds and grows. I look at anything that is worth investing time into as compounding and growing. I'm kind of like a boring person generally as well. Like I used to chase after the shiny objects a lot. But nowadays when it comes to like my business and my work and my habits, it's just like, just stick to that daily routine, make your deposits every single day. It's like the S&P 500. I don't invest in the S&P 500, but the whole theme is just make your regular deposits, on a regular daily or weekly basis. And then over time, without even paying attention to the result or how much that thing is worth, like it will amount to something great, something very strong, very good foundation.
Yeah. That's good. What's something that you wish you knew 5 years ago?
So 5 years ago, it would have been 21. So I wish I knew accounting. So it's like if I knew how my QuickBooks works from the inside out, how every single journal entry moves, or how every single report works by the levers that you pull on it, and then looking at the report and you realizing, hey, I got too much money being spent right here and there's no return, cut it off. So making decisions, it's very imperative that like your numbers, and your numbers are inputted correctly, because you could be making decisions off of the wrong numbers. You could just be putting in data and then really it's like you're double counting stuff. And if you don't understand accounting, or you don't understand how to look at your reports, then this sounds like a really, really boring and stupid thing, where it's like, but no, this is one of the most important things in business,
personal or even finance too.
Personal finance. It's like, if you don't know your budget, or if you don't know like what you're spending your money on, and like how much value does that thing even bring to your life, you're just going to keep on swiping. You're just going to keep on spending, and you're shooting yourself in the foot.
It's good, man. What's next for you?
So for the business, we're shooting to serve 800 families in the next 5 years. That's like that's accounting for about like 30, 20, 10% growth year over year, somewhere in that range, as the business gets a little bit bigger. So in the next 5 years, 800 families. That's a really big thing.
It's great.
For my family, I gotta reposition my time to be a good husband, better husband than I am a father, but also strive to be an intentional, great father for my son, and being there for him, making sure that he has the basic foundations and building blocks, and preparing challenges and obstacles for him so that he can grow for himself, not really holding him back from the world, and being ready for our approach as a family on how we're going to be living differently than everybody else, because I'm not really going to go the public school route.
I talk about that too with my family all the time.
I'm not going to be normal or complacent. I'm going to be very aggressive, and I'm going to sell my kids on a vision, and I'm going to, work with them to find what works best for them. And ultimately, I want them to know the Lord. Like that's more important than them like inheriting the business, making millions of dollars, or getting whatever type of influencer status. I know like people who get super rich and they want to send their kids to Harvard, and they just going for status. Signal. It's like I don't have anything really to prove. It's like I've come to accept that I won't be the richest person in the whole wide world. That's not really what I want. And it's like I'm always seeking value in the Lord's eyes, like what is valuable to the kingdom. So I'm going to make my decisions for me and my family based off of that. And ultimately, it's like, how do we love our neighbors,
Yeah. It's good, man. Yeah, something I say to my wife a lot, because she calls me, my wife, we've been together for 20 years, married for 12, 3 kids. And she still says like, she feels I'm very extra. She's like, everything you do is so extra.
Why does she say that?
Because I don't do anything normal. I don't like to take the normal route. I already told her, I was like, I don't care if our kids don't go to college. And she's very like, she's more traditional. I'm starting to sway her, but she's more traditional. She really wants our kids to go to college because we both went to college. And I'm like, I see value in it, and I see it as like a stomping grounds to grow and develop, and it's a safer space to do it. But I'm like, I could give or take it. Like unless you want to go do something that requires a board certified exam, it really doesn't. And if you're really smart, like, I don't know, I mean, you probably self-study your way there anyway. Unless it requires the degree for you to have that job or vocation or whatever, I don't really see a point of going to school. But I always say, if you want normal results or a normal average life, go do normal and average things. But if you want a life that's different, then it's going to require you to be a little extra, do things that are a little different from what is considered normal.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have a normal life.
Yeah. Did you know like 60% of people who go to college actually finish their degree?
Really, I didn't know that.
That's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
And then it's like you go to college and you sign up for. So I actually worked in student enrollment services when I was in college. This is kind of nuts because I had
Drop
like
some facts, bro.
I had access to like the entire student database, and I know like I knew these were the rich families and these were like the normal families. And it's like I would just look at people's profiles and see how have they been making their payments. And it's like, oh man, you would see FAFSA loan, or Parent Plus loan. And it's like I look at the interest rates online for Parent Plus loan, and it was like 8-9%. And this was like 2017 to 2021. So interest rates should be super low.
Yeah.
And these guys were still paying 8%.
Yeah.
I was like, for Parent Plus loans, so that means their parents personally guaranteed that loan that cannot be bankrupt. I was like, this is the future of America failing in front of my eyes, you know?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
and I thought about, I was like, these people are not going to get jobs making six figures for several years.
Yeah.
If they're going to get a job at all, now that I look at it nowadays. And it's like, I know people who just want to join a big company, take orders, and just be told what to do and get paid their salary. You know, that's kind of people's mindset.
Yep.
I feel like that's a Gen Z type of mindset, or millennial. They just want to get paid to do very little.
Yeah. You want comfort, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, that's not the way to go about living a fulfilling life. You know, we just sit at a desk, do the least amount of work, get paid the most amount of money. And it's just like, that's kind of rotting. I had like a $75K job when I was junior going to senior year of college. It was like 75,000. It was crazy.
That's sick.
Yeah. It's like
that's insane, yeah.
Yeah, I interviewed really, really good. I got this
Sure.
like business analyst role at a utility company as a contractor. And they're paying me, you know, between $40 and $45 an hour.
Yeah.
It was insane money. And that's how I paid like, you know, 60-70% of my student loans because COVID was happening. I had nothing to spend my money on. So I spent the money on my student loan pay down, debt pay down. But, you know, people aren't really thinking like that. How are they going to advance their life and work towards goals?
Yep.
When you ask people what their goals are, they're just like, I don't really know.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
They're going to be trying to figure things out for the next decade or 2 decades. And it's kind of depressing, you know? So that's why my friends, like, part of the criteria of being my friend is like, I got to have a pretty intellectually stimulating conversation, and you got to have some type of direction with your life. And if you don't, like, that's okay right now, but you can't stay that way. You know, I like to challenge people.
I love that, dude. Well, dude, we're going to kind of wrap up here. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to wrap up with some closing questions. It's a new little thing I'm doing to kind of wrap up and see how it goes. But I call it my 5-3-1. So in the fitness world, we have like the Wendler's 5-3-1. If you've heard of it, but it's like a strength progression, a linear progression thing. But our 5-3-1 is the first 5. I want to ask you is, what's your top 5 places that make you happy? Yeah.
Top 5 places that make me happy.
Yeah.
Well, first be Hawaii. It's definitely a spot. 5 is a lot, man.
But it could be
5 places.
It could be
that
like
make
I
you
got
happy?
a favorite room somewhere. You know, it doesn't need to be like
Okay.
a different state. It could be like
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite places is that room.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
we did like that consult room where
yeah?
I like that room. That's one of my top 5.
Yeah. So
Yeah, there's no windows, but I like it.
I like the Big Island on Hawaii because it's super underrated,
Yeah.
and I like it when everything shuts down at 7 p.m. because life is kind of too wild out here on mainland. I got my office space. I think that's pretty chill. That's like
one of your favorite spaces.
Yeah,
Places.
that's like one of the biggest blessings in my life because we really should not have it, but we do have it. So it's pretty sick.
Yeah.
I like being in my house. I'm just like, wow, like I live here for free. That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
I like being at my in-laws because I got a built-in babysitter and personal chef. So I like being at my in-laws' crib.
Hey, dude.
Yeah.
My in-laws I don't have a babysitter or a built-in chef, man. Here we go.
You need to level it up.
You're living, bro. You're living.
I know, right? Life is good. God is good.
Yeah.
And then anywhere where my son and my wife is, honestly.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I love that. Top 3 books that like have really changed your life.
Yeah, top 3 books that changed my life. Bible. Bible's always good. Number 1. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's like
Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think it's on the shelf. I think it's on the shelf right there.
I know. It's very cliche, but it's like one of the top books where it's just like, wow, these guys think differently.
Yeah.
You know, so read that. And then Secrets of a Millionaire Mind.
I've never heard of that.
You ever heard that one? It's like, it's a yellow book. So maybe I'm thinking of the title wrong, but it's a yellow book. Okay. Secrets of a Millionaire Mind, something like that. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
And the last one is, what is your top number one? This is 531. Top number one, like, go-to healthy meal. It could be at a restaurant, it could be at home, whatever. Like, what's your go-to? Where you eat it, you feel great, tastes great, it's a win.
I like fish and rice, man. Fish and rice. I don't. It's like everyone's standard of healthy is different.
No, yeah, but for you,
Dude,
it's for you.
Yeah.
It's for you.
Dude, I used to try to eat brown rice, and it's objectively people say this is better than white rice, but it doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't make me feel right, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, hot take right there. I like that.
Hot take. I don't know, man. I like to push against the grain.
Fish and rice. That's it. Any fish.
Fish, rice, any fresh leafy green. The Chinese veggies are the best, you know.
Cooked or uncooked fish?
No. I like cooked fish.
Okay.
I like cooked fish, you know, caramelized, nice sauce. One of those like Asian sauces where you got like oyster sauce in there and 5 spice.
There you go.
Yeah. Can't beat that. Can't beat that.
Right on, man. Any last words? And I guess last piece of advice for we get I think most of our listeners are probably in the 30s. For people that are in their 20s, you know, closer to your age, what's one piece of advice that you would give them as we kind of wrap up?
I think this piece of advice works for anybody, because when it comes to chasing your dreams and trying to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish in your life, think of all the people in which you're going to serve and help them reach their dreams in their lifetime and be a part of their story, because those are going to be your partners, your allies, your supporters, people who are going to vouch for you. You got to serve others before you could think about, you know, serving yourself.
That's good, man. Thanks for joining us, dude. This is great. I really enjoyed this conversation. I know that people can reach you, I think, on Instagram. Is that your
Instagram's the main thing? Yeah.
The THE Jesse JESSE Win, spelled NUNGUYEN, right?
Yeah.
The Jesse Win. So, dude, thanks for joining us, man. If y'all enjoyed this episode, please let us know. We love questions, and let us know who you want to hear next. Stay happy, stay healthy.
All right. Peace.
Peace.